things. And I am biased, enormously and obviously. I'm an author, often an author of fiction. I write for children and for adults. For about 30 years, I have been earning my living through my words, mostly by making things up and writing them down. It is obviously in my interest for people to read, for them to read fiction, for libraries and librarians to exist and help foster a love of reading and places in which reading can occur. So I'm biased as a writer. But I am much, much more biased as a reader. And I'm even more biased as a British citizen. And I'm here giving this talk tonight under the auspices of the Reading Agency, a charity whose mission is to give everyone an equal chance in life by helping people become confident and enthusiastic readers. A charity which supports literacy programs and libraries and individuals and nakedly and wantonly encourages the act of reading. Because, they tell us, everything changes when we read. And it's that change and that act of reading that I'm here to talk about tonight. I want to talk about what reading does, what it's good for. Once in New York, I listened to a talk about the building of private prisons, a huge growth industry in America. The prison industry needs to plan its future growth. How many cells are they going to need? How many prisoners are there going to be 15 years from now? And they found they could predict it very easily using a pretty simple algorithm based about asking what percentage of 10 and 11-year-olds couldn't read. And certainly couldn't read for pleasure. It's not one-to-one. You can't say that a literate society has no criminality. But there are very real correlations. And I think some of those correlations, the simplest, come from something incredibly simple. Literate people read fiction. And fiction has two uses. Firstly, it's a gateway drug to reading, the drive to know what happens next, to want to turn the page, the need to keep going, even if it's hard because someone's in trouble and you have to know how it's all going to end. That's a very real drive. And it forces you to learn new words, to think new thoughts, to keep going, to discover that reading per se is pleasurable. Once you learn that, you're on the road to reading everything. And reading is key. There were noises made briefly a few years ago about the idea that we were living in a post-literate world in which the ability to make sense out of written words was somehow redundant. But these days, those noises are gone. Words are more important than they ever were. We navigate the world with words, and as the world slips onto the web, we need to follow, to communicate, and to comprehend what we're reading. People who cannot understand each other cannot exchange ideas, cannot communicate, and translation programs only get you so far. The simplest way to make sure that we raise literate children is to teach them to read, and to show them that reading is a pleasurable activity. And that means, at its simplest, finding books that they enjoy, giving them access to those books and letting them read them. I don't think that there is such a thing as a bad book for children. Every now and again, it becomes fashionable among some adults to point at a subset of children's books, a genre perhaps, or an author, and to declare them bad books, books that children should be stopped from reading. I've seen it happen over and over. Enid Blyton was declared a bad author, so was R.L. Stine, so were dozens of others. Comics have been decried as fostering illiteracy. It's tosh. It's snobbery, and it's foolishness. There are no bad authors for children that children like and want to read and seek out, because every child is different. They can find the stories they need to, and they bring themselves to stories. A hackneyed, worn-out idea isn't hackneyed and worn out to someone encountering it for the first time. You don't discourage children from reading because you feel they are reading the wrong thing. Fiction you do not like is the gateway drug to other books you may prefer them to read. And not everyone has the same taste as you. Well-meaning adults can easily.
To keep listening to this audiobook for free, click the link in the description. It will take you to a free Audible trial where you can listen to this and many other books for free for 30 days.